because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the waters, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Oh God, y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. Even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit Join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Emerge Movement. I'm your host, Isaac J. Miles Sr., and I am ecstatic that you have chosen to join us this morning for this conscious conversation. We are here empowering and equipping you with all the tools you need in order to navigate your journey in this three-dimensional plane that we call Earth, and to do so successfully and to complete your journey to spiritual wholeness. I'm so glad that you are here, and I'm going to ask you to do something for me this morning as we prepare to get into today's conversation. Please take a moment and like the video on all the platforms, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Please make sure you like or love this particular broadcast that we're doing right now. And then secondly, share it on your page. Hit the share button, share, so that you can alert all of your friends and followers that we are on the air, and invite them to come and be a part of this conscious conversation. It's going to be powerful, robust, and in-depth today. And I know it's going to definitely be a blessing to your life. I'm going to ask you also to consider if what you hear today is truly a blessing to you and you're encouraged by it and you'd like to get more of it, consider becoming a partner with the Emerge movement, because as you saw in our introduction, partnership has its privileges. There are many benefits that come along with being a partner with the Emerge movement, and we would love to invite you to be a part of our family. There are things that we discuss and things that I share with the partners behind our, in our partner portal rather, which is behind a wall that you can't enter in unless you are a partner. There are things that I share with them there that I don't speak about here on this general platform. There, you're free to ask as many questions as you like, and we go in depth. It is uncut, raw information that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And we are empowering and we are pouring into them and giving them the necessary tools, even more, to be able to create and cultivate and curate the life that they desire for themselves. We're making and creating millionaires there. We're creating spiritual giants and warriors there. We are creating those divine beings, not creating them, but I guess cultivating them. That's a better word. Cultivating divine beings who know how to walk in the fullness of their divinity and to do great and mighty things and exploits in this world. We're not waiting to die and go to some pie in the sky, heaven up above. We are creating heaven on earth. Let me say it again. We are creating heaven on earth. Oh, man, wouldn't you like to stop living in the hell of circumstances, situations, relationships, breakdowns, frustration, aggravation, poverty, lack, need, and scarcity, and start living in the place of abundance and joy and peace, to live in the place of wealth, health, and happiness? Well, that's what we're doing behind the scenes in the partner portal. And then we've got scores of people who can give testimony to how their life has been positively impacted by the information and the activities that we share in the partner portal. So to become a partner with the Emerge movement, all you have to simply do is shoot me an email to the email address that you see on your screen right now, and just say 3 simple words: I want in. That's it. It's that simple. Send a simple short email with 3 words: I want in. And I will immediately send you out a partnership brochure and packet with all the information about what Emerge is about, as well as the partner agreement. All you simply have to do is sign it, send it back to me, and you're in. That's it. It's that simple, that easy. You're immediately invited into the partner portal, and you are immediately given access to all of the benefits that partnership brings with it. Things like coming to our annual partner summit that's going to be held in July the 12th through the 14th. It is going to be phenomenal, a phenomenal face-to-face time of fellowship and gathering together, learning, impartation, as well as just plain old fun. Yes, you can have fun. We're going to have ourselves a great time this summer. I'm telling you right now, get your summer body ready, because we're going to be on the beach and we're going to have a wonderful time. Then you'll also have access to the partner portal, where we share so much insight and depth information. There are also a whole lot of other benefits that come. You get an Emerge t-shirt for free. You get 30% off all the merchandise that we have. You get so much more. So I invite you today to consider becoming a partner with the Emerge movement. All right. I think a lot of people got caught up in the time change. A lot of people got caught up in the time change, and they probably still in bed, because a lot of our normal crew is not even on here this morning. Great day. I think they're probably still sleeping, because they think that it's about 8:15 when in fact it's 9:15. That time change kind of caught everybody by surprise, I'm sure. Good morning. I see all of you on here. So good to see you, those of you who are here. We're going to have a really good conversation this morning, because we're going to talk about soul cleansing. Yes, the soul, or in the Greek word, the psyche, the Hebrew nephesh. It's the psyche, our mind. It is our soul, which is our interior spirit, human spirit, through which our intuition, our perception, our affections, attachments, and attractions are all operate and function through. We're going to talk about cleansing the soul, or soul cleansing. It's going to be a really important conscious conversation this morning that I know will be helpful to all of you that are tuned in with us this morning. I want to begin today's conversation by doing something that I don't do on a regular basis, but I want to use a biblical text, or really a short part of a biblical text, as a basis or a jumping off point for this conversation. It's found in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. And I just want the A part of that verse, just the A part of the verse. It's 6 words, 6 words that are powerful and potent, and that are a great foundation for the conversation that we're having this morning. They simply say this: fight the good fight of faith. Fight the good fight of faith. Fight the good fight of faith. Listen to me. In a world and a culture, especially in the spiritual, religious climate, where everyone is thinking that they are fighting against all of these outside entities, these external influences, these little demons and devils and witchcraft and hoodoo and black magic, and they're fighting against, principalities and powers. They have really no idea what those terms really mean. They just throw it out because that's what they've heard all of their life in church. And so, Satan, Lucifer, Abaddon, the Apollyon, demons and devils and goblins and ghosts and witches are attacking and coming after us. All of these, conflations of these terms, all of them supposedly centered around this one little entity that is the supervisor of an underground torture chamber called hell, that you are destined to go to if you don't accept their particular religious ideology. And we won't get into an in-depth conversation about that. We've already talked about the mythology of evil and where a lot of these terminologies come from and what they truly mean and how they've been conflated and misinterpreted. Okay, but what I want you to understand is that the greatest battle that you are ever going to face is not with some little mythological demon, devil, or spirit, or Hank, or witchcraft, or dark magic, or any of those other kind of ideologies. It's your greatest battle that you will ever face, the greatest enemy of your soul. Let me say that again. The greatest and most common enemy of your soul. The common enemy of your soul, the greatest threat to your success and the enemy of your soul are the entrenched beliefs. Yeah, you thought I was going to say something else, but they are the entrenched beliefs that have been seeded into your mind and have germinated in the soil of your soul, producing fruit that is antithetical to your highest, greatest version of yourself. Let me repeat that again. The common essential human battle of the 21st century is the battle of, for, and with your own mind. And the greatest threat to your success are the entrenched thoughts and beliefs that have been seeded into your conscious mind and have germinated within the soil of your soul, producing fruit that is antithetical to your highest vision and version of yourself, producing fruit that kills your dreams, your vision, and ultimately begins to warp your destiny. It's not some little green, red, dark, black, white shadow outside of you creeping and crawling around your house. It's not some spell that's been cast upon you by a witch doctor or hoodoo worker or any of those other terminologies that have been misidentified and misconstrued and misinterpreted. It's not some, demonic force that's floating around that hopped from one person to the next. Those terminologies have been misinterpreted. While demons and devils are real, but they are not entities. They are not little spirits, but they are disempowering thoughts, ideas, beliefs that have been entrenched within your conscious mind. You see, when the scripture talks about fighting the good fight of faith, it is making a statement about the only real war that you have to fight against. We have been given the power, presence, and the isness of God in us. Each of us are the individuations or the divine expressions, likeness, and images of God. The isness of God is what makes us a living spirit. Another text says the same spirit that raised up Jesus from the dead is the same spirit that quickens or makes alive or animates your mortal body. We are not humans having a spiritual experience, but we are spirits having a human experience. We are a living, divine, endless, boundless, timeless spirits that are encased in this three-dimensional form, experiencing, cultivating, and navigating, matriculating through this three-dimensional plane that we call Earth in a human form. So we are not having to learn how to be spirit, but we are having to learn how to be spirit and divine as humans. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And so the greatest conflict that we enter in as these divine spirits in human form is learning to be able to navigate this three-dimensional existence while fighting with the entrenched ideas and thoughts and beliefs that have been seeded, that is given and imposed upon our mind. In another text, the scripture says that a man's enemies are the men of his own house. It uses this allegorically. The analogy points to the fact that your greatest enemy is not some other human being. It's not some other spirit, entity, or thing outside of you, but that your greatest enemy is enemy. It's internal. You're fighting your own internal battle with those entrenched, disempowering thoughts that constantly reverberate and echo in your conscious mind. There is another text that I'd like to break down and do a brief exegesis for you. It's found in Romans chapter 10. It talks about the faith that we are fighting for, fighting the good fight of faith. In Hebrews 11, people think that faith is defined in Hebrews 11:1. But Hebrews 11:1 does not define faith. What it does is demonstrate what faith is for and how faith operates. It says, faith is the substance. The word there simply means the essence or the power or the substratum, the foundation. It empowers the thing that we hope for or have an expectation and anticipation for. And it is the evidence, the infallible proof. It is responsible for providing us with some tangible three-dimensional proof that what we are expecting and anticipating really does exist. But faith in its operation is absolutely neutral. It has those two responsibilities. It has the responsibility of supporting what you expect and anticipate, and to give you visible, tangible proof that what you're expecting really does exist. So then, how do we define the word faith? If Hebrews 11:1 gives us the operation and the function of faith, how do we define what faith is so that we'll know the fight of faith that we need to be warring for? Well, that's the Romans piece, where it begins to tell you the origin of your faith. Not the origin of faith as it exists generally, because of course we know that emanates from the source, from the all of everything, but the origin of your faith. What is the origin or the substratum or the essence of your faith? What informs your faith? Well, in Romans chapter 10, we read these words. So then, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Let me do a brief exegesis if you don't mind. Faith, the word used there is pistis. It is defined, that's the Greek terminology. Here is the definition. Pistis is what we are fully persuaded and convinced of, what becomes our truth. What we are fully persuaded and convinced of. Did you hear that? I'm going to unpack that in a moment. I want you to catch these words, these terminologies, because it's very important. What we are fully persuaded and convinced of, what has become our truth. So he says, faith, what we are fully persuaded of and has become our truth, cometh, that is created, has its origin. Listen to this now. What we believe, what we accept as our truth, what we are fully persuaded of, has an origin story, has a beginning. Then it says, cometh by hearing. The word hearing there is the Greek word ekion, from which we get the word echo. It is written in the aorist tense, which aligns with the word echo. The aorist tense means to be repeated over and over and over again, like an echo. So it is saying, what we have been convinced of, what we've been fully persuaded of and has become our truth, has its origin in the echoes that we hear again and again and again and again, by the things that have been repeated consistently, repetitively in our conscious mind. That our faith, what we have been persuaded of and convinced of and has become our truth, cometh, has its origin or its genesis in what we have continuously heard, or what has been seeded into our conscious mind and has become second nature to us. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Now, I want to take you a little bit deeper and point out to you the terms that are used to define this faith. It says pistos are the things that we are fully persuaded of and convinced of. Not that we already know, but that we have been persuaded. Now, in order to be persuaded or convinced, it means that I had to move from something to another. You are not persuaded until you are moved from something to something else. You are not convinced unless you are moved from one train of thought to another. So what were we convinced and persuaded? We were convinced and persuaded away from what we came here knowing to what we eventually came to believe. Faith is set in motion not by what we know, because what you know, you no longer need faith for. I hope that I'm getting through. I hope you're getting this. What you know, what you factually, absolutely know to be true, you no longer need faith for. Faith supports hope and expectation, substance of things hoped for. Provides evidence. What do you need evidence for? Infallible proof that what you're hoping, expecting, believing really exists. That is completely different, ladies and gentlemen, from what you know. And every one of us, as divine individuations of the all of everything, entered this three-dimensional plane from the mind and mouth of God into this three-dimensional plane in form, fully knowing. We came into this earth realm knowing even as we were known. We had just exited out of the isness, the ether, the divinity of God, and entered this three-dimensional experience in this earth in a human form, fully cognizant, fully knowing God, knowing ourselves, knowing our purpose, knowing our reason for being, knowing all things, because we came from the all of everything. We came with full knowledge of all of everything, possessing that full divinity of all knowledge, all knowing, all powerful, all omnipresent in all places at all time, and fully creative. And then from the moment of conception in utero within your mother's womb, influence began to impose beliefs that contradict what you knew, what you came here knowing, and what you have always known. Are you hearing me? Immediately, these external influences of culture, environment, mom, dad, sisters, brothers, cousins, aunties, uncles, even while in utero, traumas, experiences, there is a reason, ladies and gentlemen, that they are constantly telling mothers who are carrying a child to be careful about not only what you eat, but how you feel and think, because the vibrational frequency of your energy begins to affect and infect that child. Are you understanding me? In Jeremiah, God is purported to have said to Jeremiah, while you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. That you were known, that you were understood, that you had the ability to know and to be influenced by what was exterior. They have mothers play music, certain types, while the baby is in utero, because it is influenced. Well, then imagine the devastation and trauma of a mother who is operating from the frequency or the disempowering thought and engagement of rejection and abandonment, of insecurity and low self-esteem, the trauma of the father maybe abandoning the mother during pregnancy, and the child in utero begins to absorb that feeling of rejection, that energy of abandonment. And then the mother, in her sadness or depression, begins to say and speak words that are life, spirit, and life, that have an effect on the life of the soul that's being carried in utero. Words like, I hate that I got pregnant. I'm sick of being pregnant. I wish I didn't have this child. His daddy, her daddy, its daddy, no good, terrible, horrible. Nobody loves me. No one understands me. And so this energy comes into conflict and contradiction with your divine knowing that you entered this three-dimensional realm with, and begins to bombard it with ideologies and beliefs and the seeds of disempowerment, discouragement, and hurt and bitterness and resentment. It begins to bombard it and batter it until by the time the child is born, it has already began to experience this cascade of negativity, negative energy, thought, and belief and ideas about itself that is working tirelessly, perpetually to contradict its own true divine identity. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Every single one of us have experienced it and undergone it. You came here knowing, and then you were taught to believe. You were taught to believe that because of your culture, your race, your nationality, you're supposed to think, behave, and carry yourself like this. That these are your limitations and this is the parameter in which you live. Because of your environment, you were convinced that your environment was the wrong side of the track, wrong position to be in, wrong neighborhood, wrong family that you were born in. And so you begin to adapt a belief that contradicts your knowing that you are the good and perfect, fearfully and wonderfully made image of God into now thinking you are dysfunctional and broken and weak and limited and powerless. You didn't get that from some demon or devil. You got that from the influences of your culture, your environment, your family. You stupid, you dumb, you so ugly. You look just like your no good daddy. You remind me, you ain't never gonna be nothing. You ain't nothing but a fast-tailed little girl. You ain't nothing but a thuggish little boy. You rotten. I wish I never had you. Are you hearing me? These are the formations of the demons and spirits and devils that begin to lurk within the conscious mind of the child, and they begin to seed into the soil of their soul until they develop a belief that is antithetical to their divine nature, a belief that they are less than, weaker than, powerless, limited. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? I'm talking to some of you that are watching me right now and are part of this conscious conversation. Your soul needs to be cleansed because it has been polluted with these ideas, these echoes, these beliefs, these entrenched ideas that have been imposed upon you by your culture, your environment, your family, your religion. Because then you are introduced to secular religion. Yes, these organized religions that are fear-based, and they tell you that you are wretched, undone, sinful, dark, broken, messed up, stuck in the muck and the mire, that you are on your way to a devil's hell, that you are no good, that you are filthy, that you are disgusting, that God doesn't really like you, God doesn't really want anything to do with you unless you get washed in the blood of his son. Then he can barely stomach you as long as you stay under that blood. If you step out from under it, then he don't want nothing to do with you no more. But at the same time, they'll tell you that his love is unconditional. Yeah, it loves you unconditional, unless, of course, you step out from under that blood. Then it's like, no, I can't stand you. Now, depart from me. I got to cast you into hell, and you got to suffer for all of eternity because you stepped out from under that blood. because you came here wrong. There was something wrong with you. There was something broken with you. They misquote and misinterpret texts from the Bible where David is quoted as saying that I was born in sin, and in sin and in iniquity was I shapen. Did my mother conceive me? She conceived me in sin, and I was shapen in iniquity. That was David's overly depressed thought about himself. It wasn't a spiritual declaration about the nature of all mankind, and yet it became adopted within the church world that we were all born into sin and error, and that we were all shapen and composed by iniquity that flies in the face of the divinity of God. It is a slap in the face, in the face of the all of everything, to say that God shaped and formed me in my mother's womb, but it did so in sin and iniquity. What an ignorant ideology that flies in the face of all that we know to be true, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made in the divine image of God, and there is no iniquity in the nature of God. And since God is the one that formed me and shaped me, then I was not born in sin, nor was I shaped in iniquity, and neither were you. Let me say it again. I know what they told you in religion. I know what your mama have said. I know what your grandma said. I know what your grandpappy and your uncles and all the rest of your cousins said. I know what your preacher, your prophet, your bishop, your apostle, your teacher, your evangelist, your missionary, and all the rest of them names said. But I'm telling you, you know that it didn't resonate with you. Even if you adapted it because you heard it again and again, echoed again and again into your conscious mind, and you mentally assented to it, something deep inside of you said, this doesn't fit me. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't align with it doesn't resonate with me. I don't really think that I'm that bad. I'm that broken. But if you say so, then okay, I'll say, well, I'm a sinner. I'm helpless. I'm nasty. I'm dirty. I'll come into agreement with you if it means that you can save me from my filthy, nasty self. What an insult to God. That rescue me from my sinful, nasty self. But it is a gross misunderstanding and misinterpretation. And so as a result, you develop these erroneous, disempowering beliefs that fly in the face of your ultimate reality and began to create an alternate reality that becomes your truth. It becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Many of you find yourselves behaving, acting, thinking, speaking in ways that don't even feel right to you. You know it's not good for you. You know it's not who you are at your core, at your nature. But you have been convinced and persuaded. Yeah, your faith. You have been convinced away from who you are, convinced away from your own knowing of your divinity and divine nature, and persuaded that you are wicked and evil. And so because you have faith that has become your faith, your truth, the operation of faith, neutral, has no choice. It has no choice but to support, that is, be the essence of the thing that you expect and anticipate. You anticipate that you are dumb and stupid and no good and weak and sinful and broken. And faith has no choice but to support that belief, because that is your belief. That's become your truth. The echo has become your reality. The echo has now taken shape and form in your life and been solidified like a seed planted in the soil of your conscious soul. And faith then has to support that idea. Not only does it have to support it, but then it has to give you evidence, proof that what you have come to believe, what you've been convinced of, is really true. And so you have one failure after another, one catastrophe after another, one trauma after another that keeps reinforcing the idea that you had become to believe as your truth. You were told that you were lazy, and then faith has no choice but to fulfill the responsibility of proving to you that you're lazy, that you're shiftless, that you're no good, that you're not smart, that you're not strong, that you're weak, that you're broken. And so it keeps bringing incident after incident and trauma after trauma and situation after circumstance and relationship that keeps reinforcing what you have come to believe about yourself. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you are at war, not with some demon or devil outside of you, not some entity or spirit or hang, not some curse that has been spoken over your life or some spell that has been cast, but you are at war internally with your own mind. Your soul is infected with a belief, with an erroneous, disempowering truth, with error that you have come to believe is who you are. What you hear and what you have heard repeatedly becomes your truth. What has been engraved and ingrained and entrenched within your soul or psyche becomes your truth and creates your reality. I guarantee you, if you don't believe it, try this exercise with me tomorrow morning. Now, not with me because I'm not going to do it, but you do it if you want proof. Wake up in the morning, and as soon as you wake up, start thinking, saying, and acting like you're sick. And see how quickly your body conforms and contorts itself to experience exactly what you think, what you said, and how you're acting. As a man thinks, so is he. Death and life are in the power of the tongue or the spoken word or the energy released by your voice. Not just your voice, but we've just learned that our faith, what we accept as true, has its origin story in what we have heard repeat. So the power of death and life have been spoken over you by your family, friends, environment, culture, religion. All of them telling you there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Even though you came here complete in God, these external voices are saying there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. I did a short blurb of a video a while back where I said, stop asking children what they want to be when they grow up. Because when you say something that appears as innocuous as, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Is essentially saying to that child, there is something wrong with who they are right now. And they need to aspire to become something other than who they are. Instead, expose your children to all the possibilities and potential that is available to them and allow them to choose from a healthy space of knowing that whatever choice I make is good as long as it aligns with my spirit and supports my highest good, then it is good. That I don't need to become anyone else, that I am right now all that I need to be. Stop reinforcing the idea that something is wrong. That's why you are in the painful mental state that you're in now. You're walking around consciously thinking, and in many cases, most cases, subconsciously accepting and embracing that there's something wrong with you. That's why when you get frustrated, first thing you say is, what's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know what's wrong with my mind. Y'all got to forgive me. You know I ain't right. Listen to what you are saying. Y'all know something wrong with me. You know I'm a little touched. Where'd that come from? Where did that disempowering belief come from? It cometh, has its origin by hearing. Who was speaking when you heard? You need to answer this question for yourself. Who was speaking when you heard? Since my faith, what I have accepted to be true, comes by what I have continuously heard that has been echoed in my conscious mind. Who was speaking when you heard? And from what place were they speaking? Was it them speaking from their own sense of brokenness? And so they began to curse you with their own brokenness by imposing their own disempowering beliefs about themselves, their pain, their trauma onto you. You see, many of your loved ones, your mother, your father, uncles, cousins, even your preachers and gurus, mentors, mentees, your imams, they didn't intentionally. It wasn't intentional. Some were, but most are not intentionally trying to destroy your mind, to pollute your soul. They are simply passing on to you those things that have become their truth, and so they impose it upon you so it becomes your truth. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Their limitations now become your limitations. Their weaknesses become your weaknesses. Their insecurities now imposed upon you and become your. This is the real generational curse. Ain't no demons or hank or no spell. No. It's a mindset. It's a set of beliefs and ideologies that keep you trapped in a self-imposed prison and won't allow you to live up to your full potential because you have accepted this ideology about yourself. And so we are instructed in Timothy, fight, struggle, engage in the war. He says, of the good fight of faith. Fight to know and not simply believe, everything that has been spoken. Fight for your truth. Fight for your ultimate reality. Fight the good fight of your faith. Fight for your mind. Fight for the control of your mind again, because the weapons of our warfare are not natural, not tangible, not carnal, not humanity, but they are mighty to the pulling down of strongholds, that is, entrenched ideas and thoughts and beliefs and ideologies that have been entrenched and ingrained and engraved in your mind, casting down all of those negative, contrarian, antithetical images and ideas implanted and imposed upon you that told you you will never be anything, that told you you weren't smart enough, strong enough, that you weren't big enough, that you weren't enough. Casting it down. Every imagination and every thought, bringing every thought into captivity, seizing it, captivating it, grab hold to it, dismissing it, and making it come to submission to the knowledge, that is the knowing of God, that is innate within your divine spirit. Soul believes something that is antithetical to your divine nature. Your spirit still knows. And so you find its internal conflict. When I would do good, evil is present with me. The evil is not something out here. The evil is something in here. The evil is not something roaming around in your house. The evil is right here roaming around in the house of your mind, your thoughts. And it's always present with you. Your spirit says, yes, you can. And your soul begins to say, nah, you know you can't do that. Remember what happened last time. Remember what your mama said. Remember what your daddy said. Remember what happened to you 1973. Remember what happened. Remember this. Remember that. You can't do that. You know you're not that smart. You know you're not that strong. You know you broke. You don't have no money. You know ain't that child. Have you forgot where you came from? You come from this little old small hick town. You ain't nobody in your family ever gone to college. Ain't nobody in your family ever owned a successful business. You'll never be able to do this. Something inside of you, your intuitive knowing, is driving you to do more. To have more, to be more, to give more. But that conscious mind, that soul trauma is there telling you, you can't do that. Come on now. Be real. Let's be realistic. Who around you ever has? Who in your family ever has? When have you ever? You know you can't do that. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing me? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to those of you that are watching me right now who are at war and in turmoil within your own mind, fighting for your mind because you can't even really hear your own voice anymore. Your voice has been drowned out by the voice of your mama and your grandmama and your uncle and your cousin, by the voice of your trauma and your religion and your culture and your environment. And so all of these voices are cascading and echoing into your mind, creating a faith, a belief in something that doesn't align with your highest good or your real nature. And you are bombarded with these wars every day. Wake up having to fight with your own mind, fight with your own thoughts, going to work, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your relationship with your children, in your relationship with yourself, fighting with your own mind that keeps telling you that you are limited, that you are broken, that there's something wrong with you. that there's something wrong, something broken inside of you, something dysfunctional about you. And so the fearfully and wonderfully made simply becomes fear. Fear. And fear brings torment. Fear attracts, draws into you torment. Torment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real hell. It's the torment taking place in your own mind that keeps telling you you can never do this, you can never accomplish this, you can never be this, you can never have this, you can never go there, you can't do. It's the torment happening in your own mind that keeps telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not enough, you're not strong enough, you're not smart enough, you're not gifted enough, you're not talented enough. It's the torment that's going on in your own mind that tells you that you are weak and sickly and prone to this disease and that disease. It is you're having to fight with what Paul describes as the motion of sin. The motions of sin. Let me help you out here. I'm going to exegese again for just a second. Let me get theological. The motions of sin. Let's exegese. Let's define this terminology. Okay? First, the word sin, which we've turned into this big bad boogeyman. God is not as concerned about sin as you are. You more jacked up and worried about sin than God is. God is like, what? Sin is a natural part of life, of living. Sin is a natural part of being. Sin is a natural part of your progression and your growth and your evolutionary journey. Oh my goodness, I know I just lost about 5 folk right there. Wait a minute, did this man just say sin is natural? It is. Did nobody have to teach you to sin? Did anybody hold a class in sin? You just naturally flowed into it because sin is natural. It's a part of your evolutionary growth. Now, count it all joy when you fall into your diverse temptation. Sin. Because that sin worketh, employs, it calls up, it summons this greater part of your nature. You had not known righteousness without sin. But listen to what it says. Let's define the term. The term sin is from the Greek word hamartia. Hamartia, or hamartia, whichever way you want to pronounce it. But it simply is defined as, listen to this, missing the mark, committing an error, or making a mistake. And the word mistake is defined in Webster's dictionary as just an error in judgment. It's not this stain. I gotta wash away the stain of sin. Sin is not a stain. Sin is an error in judgment. It's a mistake. It's an error. It's a misjudgment. It is a missing of the mark. It is an error. Let me say it again. The very word means an error. It is an error. It is a mistake. It is a misjudgment. You missed the mark. That's it. And missing the mark, misjudging, having an error in judgment is a natural part of your progression, your evolutionary journey. It's a natural thing. Wait a minute, don't the Bible say God hates sin? Yeah, and shouldn't you? Who likes making mistakes? Who loves making an error? Of course, I hate it too. I hate sin. I hate when I make mistakes. I hate when I have an error in judgment. but I also learned from it. And so the error becomes my teacher. Everything is for you. Nothing is against you. Are you understanding me? Huh? Well, hold on. Hold on now, preacher. Hold on. Doesn't the Bible say that sin separates you from God? Well, yeah, it does. Error separates you from your divine nature. You are now thinking with your carnal mind rather than your divine mind. And as long as you continue to think with the carnal, the error-filled mind, you are walking separate from your divine nature. The moment that you repent, the word repent means to rethink. Did you hear that? Rethink, change your mind. The moment you change your mind, repent, rethink, reminded, reconfigured, renewed, you are aligned with your own truest identity, that is your divine self. It's not some permanent stain that if you allow it to stay there will cause you to go to hell. No, it will cause you to live in the hell that you're in right now because you're continuously making the same error again and again. But hold on, let's finish exegesing the text. The motions of error, mistakes, an error in judgment. The word motions there. The word motions comes from the Greek term patheria, which is the root word from the word pathology. Pathology. Are you hearing me? Let me read something to you. Let's talk about what pathology is. When he talks about the motion of sin, pathology is the structural and functional deviation from the natural state. Pathology is the functional and structural deviation from our natural state. So when he talks about the motions of sin, he's talking about the pathology of our error, the structural and functional deviation from our natural state, which is holy, pure, righteous, divine. Are you hearing me? That we were somehow drawn into, convinced away from, persuaded away from our natural state into the motions or the pathology, this deviation, structural and functional deviation of error and misjudgment. So he is essentially saying sin is a pathogen. A pathogen is a viral or bacterial infection. Didn't I tell you that you were infected, oh my God, and affected by the empowering ideas and ideologies of your culture, your environment, your family, your religion? It's the pathogen originates with mama, daddy, cousins, environments, and religions that pass on this virus of error, virus of sin, this deviation away from your natural state, creating a pathology within your conscious mind that is geared toward error. It was good enough for mother. It's good enough for me. Huh? Are you hearing me? And so you become trapped in this cycle or the motions or the pathology of error, the motions of sin, the pathology of error, misjudgment, and mistake. And that pathogen has been given to you, imposed upon you. Are you hearing me? You were brought up to believe in blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white Jesus. And now anytime someone says or demonstrates or gives you a picture that contradicts what the pathogen that's been placed in your mind, you immediately throw up a defense. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Trying to fight off something that was actually sent to cure the pathogen. Do you understand me? So anytime truth now comes in conflict with what is your truth, actual truth comes in conflict with what your truth, your pathogenic belief and idea and error, you call that the enemy because it conflicts with the pathogen that has deviated you away from your natural state of holy, righteous, pure, and good. Are y'all following what I'm saying to you? My goodness, I'm teaching better than y'all saying amen. Are you hearing me? You have all these pathogens floating around in your soul, in your psyche, in your mind, in your conscious mind, seeding continuously your soul. And that soul, which is divine and designed to bring forth fruit and bring it forth with increase. Are you hearing me? So the child's state is worse than the mother's, and the grandchild's is worse than the grandmother's or the grandfather. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Every generation gets worse and worse because nobody has cured the pathogen, the viral mindset of error. But the good news is you're being given the antidote to the pathogen this morning. Woo! Did you hear what I said? That you are being given the antidote to the pathogen this morning with some divine truth that there is nothing wrong with you, nothing missing in you, nothing broken in you, nothing dysfunctional in you, that you don't need a savior because there's nothing you need to be saved from. The only thing that you have to be rescued from is your own thoughts. You have to take this injection of truth to fight off the pathogen, the viral, bacterial disease, the contagion of error passed down from generation to generation that has limited your growth, limited your expansion, limited your success, limited your belief, limited your divine nature from fully expressing the divine God that you are. Take this divine injection of truth that there is nothing broken about you, that you are pure, that you are holy, that you are righteous, that you are good, that what works for you is good for you. You as the divine individuation of God, you as a unique expression of God, unique in the sense that what's good for you may not be good for another, but it does not mean that it's not good. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And what's bad for another may not be bad for you. Just because it's bad for them doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means it's bad for them, but it may be good for you. In your unique frame, with your unique purpose, your unique original intent for being released into this three-dimensional realm. Are you hearing me? That even your failures are good. Even your faults, your hang-ups are good, because all of them are indicators to you. They are there lacing your entire journey with lessons for you to learn, to understand, to comprehend, to vibrate higher. And so he says, count it joy when you fall into the temptation, because the temptation now that you've fallen into, the error, is made to be exceedingly errorful or sinful so that you can learn from it. And as I told one of my clients earlier this week, and once you have learned the lesson, you don't spring back to where you were. No, you have to be sprung forward further down the line toward your destiny, because now you know more than what you knew before you fell. So the fail was actually a good thing. So I can count it joy because I fell into it. I learned from it. I'm better because of it. And now I'm more valuable and further down the road toward fulfilling the destiny that I've designed for my life. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you this morning? Soul cleansing, then. Man, I've been on here over an hour already, and I haven't even gotten to the functional, practical part of soul cleansing. That's what I'm going to do in these next few minutes, and I'm done. Soul cleansing, then, involves three aspects that sound very simple, but can be very complex. They involve shadow work, that is, learning how to embrace and integrate your shadow self, the part of you that you think is dark, that dark matter, dark energy within you. And what most don't understand is even the scriptures teach that light comes out of darkness, and the light shined out of darkness, and the light shined out of dark. Darkness produces the light. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. And then God said, let there be light, and light comes out of the darkness. So learning to embrace and integrate that shadow self with your divine self. Affirmative prayer. That's not petitioning and begging and asking and, oh, please, Lord, deliver me, Lord. But thankfulness. Affirmative is saying, I know that I am, and I thank you that I am, and I'm grateful that I am, that I am, that I am, that I am. And meditation, mindful, deep meditation, to look inward into your own subconscious mind and search for the roots of your pathogens, the origins of your pathogens, the emotions of sin, to find the root of your pathology. The functional and structural deviation away from your, what informed your movement away from your natural state? Where did that idea come from that there was something wrong with you, something broken about you, that you were dumb, that you were stupid, that you were slow, that you were fast, that you were hoish, that you were limited, that you were powerless? Where did that come from? So you can uproot it out of the soil of your soul and excommunicate it out of your conscious mind and create space for the glorious illuminating light of God, your divine nature, to flood your conscious mind. Shadow work. And Shadow work, learning how to integrate your shadow self, embrace your shadow self, understanding that there's nothing wrong with you, nothing wicked, ungodly, sinful about you. Okay? This type of work, it can be done on your own. It is most easily and effectively accomplished with an objective counselor, mentor, leader, spiritual guide, teacher that can walk you through the process. No, I gave you those 3 things and it seems simplistic, but no, it doesn't happen overnight. You've been ingrained, indoctrinated, domesticated in one way for so many years of your life. So that is not going to be undone because somebody prayed and prophesied over you. Somebody poured some oil on your head because you shook and bucked and kicked and fell out. Ooh, goodness, got dizzy doing that. And fell out on the floor. It is a process that has to be worked through time with an objective, because all of us see ourselves from a purely subjective point of view. With an objective mentor, counselor, teacher, whatever, that is skilled to walk you through the process. Practicing affirmative prayer, because the best way to begin to stop a thought from cascading through your mind is to begin to speak the thing that is totally opposite to the thought. Because you can't think one thing and say something else out of your mouth at the same time. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's humanly impossible. The moment that you begin to speak something else out of your mouth, your mind has to come into alignment with whatever's coming out of your mouth. And you say it, and you say it, and you say it, because remember, faith comes by hearing. So just as you were convinced and you were persuaded away from your divine nature to a disempowering belief, it's the same way you're going to return. You need to hear again and again and again and again. It needs to be echoed in your psyche, your conscious mind, your soul, that you are good, that you are strong, that you are pure, that you are holy, that you are capable, that you are limitless, boundless, that you are filled with infinite potential and power. It needs to be repeated. Not one sermon, not one teaching, not one prayer is going to do it. You have to affirmatively pray it again and again, because when you affirmatively pray, you are speaking to your divine spirit, reminding it of its divine nature and canceling out all of those pathogenic thoughts. And through meditation, you are able to go deeper beneath the surface and begin to discover the roots and seeds of the pathology. Unearth them, pull them out of this earthen vessel. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That is the process of cleansing the soul. It is the battle for your mind, the battle of your mind, the battle with your mind, that every single one of us have to engage in if you're going to lead a successful and healthy, spiritually fulfilling life. You ain't got to worry about no haters. What haters? Quit worrying about all that nonsense these folk talking about. And worry about the battle that's going on right here. You win this battles, and it don't matter what other haters say or do. Because you know, you've gone from believing to knowing. I know I'm divine. I know I'm powerful. I know that there is nothing I cannot do, nothing I cannot create, no place that I cannot be, nothing that I cannot have. I have everything that I need. I am divine, pure, righteous, and holy. When you know that, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. I know who I am. You can call me Jeffrey all day long. I don't care. That's not going to change the fact that I know my name is Isaac. That's my name. Now, you can call me Jeffrey. I ain't got nothing to do with you calling me Jeffrey. You can call me Jeffrey. You can call me Calvin. You can call me, ugly, dumb, stupid. I know that that's not me. I know who I am. So I'm not offended by that. You can't bother me with that. That doesn't affect me. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Win the battle here. Cleanse your soul from all of these disempowering, degenerative pathogens and rebuild your immune system with injections of truth and ultimate reality. And watch your spiritual health break forth, your mental health break forth. One of the fallacies in psychology and with therapy is, one of the fallacies, not, and I am a big proponent of therapy, okay? But one of the fallacies is that the DSM-3 from which they base many of their diagnoses purports to say that there is one uniform way of being, one uniform way of thinking, one uniform way of feeling. And that is absolutely not true. We are all unique divine expressions of the all of everything. And while my experience and expressions and way of being may not mirror yours, it is still valid. That's one of the fallacies. I am not anti-therapy. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. Okay? I've been to a therapist myself, planning on going back again. Okay? I encourage other people to get into therapy. But don't fall into the trap of thinking that there is one uniform way of being. And a good therapist will not guide you down that road, but a good therapist is helping you to discover your own unique self and to be comfortable being who you are at your core. Are you hearing me? Okay. I'm going to stop. I could keep going. I'm looking at the comments grid, Dave. I hadn't been paying attention to them while I was teaching, but y'all been commenting away over here. Let me see if there are any questions in here I need to address. Woo! That's good right there, Gloria. Gloria said, someone I know asked God what was sin, and God told him sin was self-intoxicating negativity. That is powerful. That's good. That's a very good definition. I don't see any other questions, but very good. All right. So I know you were empowered and blessed by the teaching this morning. I know you're going to walk away changed, and if not changed, at least intrigued enough to begin to go inward and do some searching and working. I want you to know that I offer mentorship, counseling for those of you who feel like you might need it. Let me find that flyer and I'll put it on the screen. Oh, that's right. The flyer is not big enough, but anyway, you'll see it. Emergent life coaching is one-on-one intense coaching that empowers you with the tools to be successful. And you can schedule your appointment with me by simply shooting me an email at the email address that's on the screen. The sessions are $100 per hour, or if you are a partner with Emerge, it's $70 per hour. But I am more than happy to assist you in doing the shadow work and walking through the process of healing so that you can cure yourself of the pathogen, the pathology of sin, the pathology of error that's been engraved in your mind. Or you can find other mentors and counselors to help you to do so. But do something to break away from it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you your opportunity to worship. We know that the highest form of worship, the highest expression of our worship is generosity and giving. And so I want to give you an opportunity to be able to give to this platform. It's always when I get down to the giving part that some people float away and leave the broadcast. That's okay. That's to their detriment, because giving is what creates the cycle of abundance and prosperity in your life. It is our way of worshiping and giving praise and honor and adding value to that which we have received and learned. So I want to give you an opportunity to give today. You can use any of the means that you see on your screen. You can use our Cashapp, Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo. Cashapp is $emergelec. Our Zelle is emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Our PayPal is paypal.me/emergelec. And our Venmo is @emergelec. However you decide to sow and to give and to express your gratitude this morning is perfectly fine. Those of you who are partners and who are participating in the financial fitness plan, you know what you need to do. Make sure that you stay on pace and stay in place with doing and following the steps of the financial fitness plan so you can continue to grow your wealth and your stability. Those of you who like to know more about the financial fitness plan, well, then you need to become a partner, because that is something specifically for those who are partners with the Emerge movement. Okay? Go ahead and do your giving, your worship right now. While we are still on the air, I'm going to give you a few more moments to do so before I get ready to say goodbye and leave you with some parting words. Thank you so much for all of you that are giving and that will give in the future. And thank you for tuning in as well. I pray that you, well, I don't have to pray that. I know that you were immensely blessed and empowered by it. If you paid attention and you listened and took it to heart, it is going to revolutionize your life. I invite you again to become a partner with the Emerge movement, and that if you're in need of a life coach, a mentor, a counselor, please reach out. Don't fail to reach out to me by the email address that you see on your screen. I am at your service. It is my honor to serve you. Have an absolutely wonderful, splendiferous day, and I'll see you next time.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at emergelec Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, You can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.